U.S. Farm Report on the road from the Milk Business Conference is brought to you by Enogen. Enogen delivers more available energy to your cattle, increased starch digestibility, and improved silage quality. Energize your operation with Enogen corn for feed. And by Rabo AgriFinance. Discover how local relationship managers and global sector expertise can help you address challenges and seize opportunities. Rabo AgriFinance. Let's talk. Learn more at www.raboag.com.
Welcome back. Well, continuing our marketing discussion, we've been talking a lot about trade here at Milk Business Conference, and we'll continue to talk about trade this coming year with the incoming Trump administration. But really, Mike, when you look at the scope of this next year, where do you think dairy has the most to gain, and where do you think dairy has the most to lose as trade becomes a focus again?
Well, I think as you look around Southeast Asia, there's been a little bit of, let's call it rough water inside of some of those economies, inside of some of the politics. We saw some key partners retract this year. South Korea has been a big question mark for us. There's room to grow back into that Southeast Asian market and pick up kind of what we've lost. And so we'll see how that plays out going through 2025. I think as we touch on the tariff discussion inside the new administration, the place where we stand to lose the most is Mexico. We've got some hot button issues with regard to nearshoring and the border and security. And how do we leverage this discussion of tariffs to try to solve those problems? Because that's being thrown out there. And, as recent as 2 weeks ago, they were called out as a potential tariff target. And so one thing we've learned from the first Trump presidency was that he generally does what he says he's going to do. So how they leverage that and to what extent will shape some of that conversation around not just trade for dairy, but big markets for us for corn and for pork and otherwise. So this will be an interesting dialogue.
Ben, as you look globally and looking at where could we see some shuffle take place that would directly impact dairy producers right here in the room?
Yeah, I've got to agree with Mike. It is so important, that Mexican market. For a lot of things. It seems like their food economy is really booming. It's also a country that's mostly subject to drought unless they get, a certain number of hurricanes passing through. So we've seen exports of U.S. ag products to Mexico explode. And I think, we kind of shuffle the deck on Southeast Asia and East Asia. That is the market that we want to focus on. And we don't want to lose, especially what they've been purchasing recently.
Anything else you want to add to that, Lucas?
I think I continue to be encouraged by how not only the U.S. dairy industry, but also all of American agriculture made our voice heard in the USMCA agreements during Trump's first term. We were very adamant that Mexico is a key market, that we cannot lose any ground there, and it's a critical driver of our export market. So I'm encouraged that regardless of the conversation so far, hopefully that message continues to shine through in this second term.
Looking back here at home, it has been interesting to see how the dairy market and the landscape has changed. Replacement heifer prices hitting monumental highs recently. Is there any reason to think that will change, Lucas?
I think it will be difficult in the near term. It all goes back to the cattle cycle, and we've kind of worked ourselves into this situation where it's not going to be easy to solve. There's no magic number that can automatically create new replacements overnight. So I think we'll be in this situation for a while. I challenge and encourage dairy farmers to kind of think strategically about their breeding choices and what they're doing into the future. And there also just the opportunity for this revenue, beef on dairy, other things that come from non-milk sources is going to be pretty critical for the overall balance sheet, I think.
Ben, do you agree? When you look specifically at replacement heifer prices, do you think that is a trend that we will continue to see strengthen next year?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there are any secrets here. Yeah, we don't see, you all know the length of time it takes to kind of replenish this stuff. The beef market probably doesn't change in 2025. Maybe 2026 is the target year. I would just throw out, we do have to kind of watch pasture conditions. It does seem we've solved a lot of drought in a lot of important places. So that might play somewhat of a role in replenishing second half of next year.
Beef on dairy. Mike? I mean, we've seen the strength that that's provided the dairy industry as of late. We survey major economists, and they think it's going to be 2026 before we even start to rebuild this cattle herd. So the opportunity is here. However, do you think that we see kind of beef on dairy scale back in 2025?
To a very limited degree, yes. And that is only to embrace what these two gentlemen were just saying.
Right.
We all see the opportunity in dairy. We understand it's going to take replacement heifers to get there. And so we're going to scale back, but we're not going to leave the beef on dairy opportunity. And to be really fair, the case that I make for dairymen is that we have the opportunity to literally own the premium beef space because of the consistency of the carcass through this homogeneous, breeding and carcass type across our females, coupled with very improved beef genetics coming into this program. We can deliver not only a great consistent carcass, but we can tell the story from birth to table about every activity that happened in that animal's life. That's a big, big win for dairy.
So you're telling me dairy producers produce better beef than beef producers?
It's a different type of opportunity for us. It's not that it's better.
I just wanted you on record.
It's not that it's better.
Okay.
It's just that it's a little bit more consistent.
Mike, Ben, Lucas, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We need to take another quick break, and then we'll be back with much more right here on U.S. Farm Report.